Yo, how's everyone doing today? It's Lucas and Christian. This is the At the Buzzer NBA Draft Show. The draft lottery was yesterday. Obviously, the Atlanta Hawks jumped up to the number one overall pick. Super surprising. We're going to be doing a first round mock draft today. I'm going to be doing the odd numbers, and Christian is going to be doing the evens. Um, and how are you doing today, Christian?
Doing great, man. It's a nice day out. Gonna walk my dog later outside of the Pistons falling to number five. Everything's good. Good Mother's Day. How about yourself, man?
Definitely, it's been good. It's been good. Definitely, the draft combine, the measurements are starting to come out, and those are a little all over the place. So we'll have to wait to take any of that too seriously. But anyways, let's get right into this because I already know where I'm going with the number one overall pick. The Atlanta Hawks. I'm going to take Alex Sarr. Mobile big man, great lob threat. If they decide to keep Trae Young, I think they should. Now that they landed the number one overall pick, there were talks about them potentially trading Trae Young this offseason or looking to trade Trae Young. I think Alex Sarr is probably one of the most ideal big men to pair alongside someone like Trae Young. I'd probably look to move DeJounte Murray off for whatever you can just because that backcourt isn't the greatest pairing as they've seen over the last few years. Um, I debated Ron Holland here, but it seems like the consensus and teams and like the sourced mock drafts, like the mock drafts that have sources, Ron is much lower. So I think that Alex Sarr will be the pick there. Obviously, a great defensive player, a little bit reminiscent of an Evan Mobley, not an exact one-to-one comp, but relatively similar. Switchable big man, great defender. Um, Budding offensive skills. There's some potential there as a shooter. We'll see if that ever really comes around. But Alex Sarr with the number one overall pick, that's where I'm rolling. So number two
All
here, the
right.
Washington Wizards,
I'm gonna go with Rob Dillingham.
for
Um,
sure.
I think they need a guard, and I think Rob's one of the better guards in this draft. And I think he could be. I think he's got all-star level potential. Not saying he'll get that good, but I think he's a good pick for this Washington team, and will help their young core as the years go along.
Yeah, definitely. One of the best, one of the most dynamic and creative offensive players in this draft class. Obviously, the measurements for him aren't amazing, but like you and I were talking about earlier, with how skilled he is, it it might not matter. If you check out my Twitter at RedCooteay, it'll be in the bio. I just posted a Rob Dillingham shooting breakdown the other day. He shot the ball very, very efficiently from pretty much any way that you could imagine, off the dribble, off screens, spot up situations, catch and shoot, everything. I like the pick there. Number three, the Houston Rockets. So I think that, because they already have a lot of young pieces. Obviously, if I'm the Houston,
Realistically, this probably gets
this
traded.
probably gets traded. Exactly, yeah. I think if they were to keep it, I would like Rob Dillingham here, but obviously, you just took him. So I'm not going to overthink it. I'm not going to spend too much time here. I'm not sure how great of a fit it is or how much he'll play early on, but I think that Ron Holland is the best player available. So I'm just going to go with him here. Obviously, has some good two-way upside, super athletic. He, like I said, ESPN, some of the other mock drafts that have sources, he's rated pretty low, but I like what I saw this year, and I think that he can make an impact on both sides as long as the team is ready or is willing to be patient with him. So, like we said, that pick will probably get traded, but I'll roll with Ron Holland there. So number four, the San Antonio Spurs now.
All right, so for the Spurs, you go a lot of different ways here. Um, a lot of people like Topic with the Spurs, but for me, if I'm the Spurs, I'm gonna try to get a proven point guard before I'm gonna trade for one. So I probably won't draft a point guard here now that Rob's gone. I think if
For
Rob was
sure.
there, I'm taking Rob.
I agree.
But since he's not, there's a couple other guards I like here, but realistically, if I wanted those guys, I'd probably trade back. So for the
Definitely.
Spurs here, I'm gonna take this one might be a bit of a surprise for this spot, but I'm just gonna go with Matas Buzelis.
That's where I thought you were going because I know you're not a big Share fan. You were saying you weren't taking a guard, so I thought that's where you're going. I like that. I like Matas. I have him number five on my board right now. So obviously the shooting this year with Matas was not as good as you'd want it to be, but he was a much better defender than people expected this year. The shooting will probably still be all right. I don't know if he'll be a sniper, but he's got good positional size. So
And
he's
realistically, I think also with the Spurs, one of if not both their picks will probably be traded as well.
yeah, I think
I
so
just
too.
think you got to get a proven guard with Wemby. Don't waste any time with him.
Definitely. So, the Detroit Pistons now, I'm going to be selecting for them your favorite team. Obviously, they have Cade Cunningham, Jaden Ivey, Asar Thompson last year, Jalen Duren. That's kind of like their main core, if you will. Um, the players that catch my eye here are Zachary Rissacher, Donovan Clingan, Reed Shepard potentially, but I'm probably not going to go that way. Topic wouldn't be maximized here with Cade and Ivy, so looking past him. Dalton Connect would be okay, but 5 is definitely too rich for me. Stephon Castle, they took Asar last year. They need shooting. I don't think that you don't focus on fit too much this early in the draft, especially when you're as bad as the Pistons were, but I don't think that I'd go that way. Cody is interesting. I know that you're not going to really like this, but I was going to go with Matas, and you took him, so I think Zachary Rissacher is probably where I'd go here. I do have him a little bit lower on my board. I have him number 10. ESPN obviously has him number 1. The fits that I like for the Pistons over Rissacher have already been selected, so I think that if he could provide some shooting, some positional size, you definitely got screwed a little bit falling back number 5. But I think that if there's anywhere that he's going to be maximized, Detroit might be that place.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Going back to my Spurs pick, there was I was planning on Ron being there, and I was going to take him. Um,
Definitely.
but another guy also could have gone there, who I'll take with the sixth pick, is Donovan Clingan. Um,
Here for the Hornets?
Honestly, I was thinking about taking him with the Spurs, but then I'm not 100% sure how that would work with Wemby and Clingan. I'd had to like watch more of the Spurs. I didn't watch a crazy amount of them this year.
Definitely.
Obviously, it's pretty fluid, still really early in the process. But at 6, if I'm Charlotte, I'm going to take Clingan. I think he could be a defensive anchor and help them win more games. I know they have Mark Williams, but for me, Clingan's the best player available at this point. So that's who I would go with.
Okay, for sure. Number 7 here, the Portland Trailblazers. This is where things get interesting. I like Stephon Castle a lot. He's still here. I don't think that Portland is an ideal landing spot for him. Nikola Topic, I don't think Portland's an ideal landing spot for him either. Obviously, having taken Scoot Henderson last year, Shaden Sharp recently, they still have Anthony Simons. Malcolm Brogdon is still even there.
Hmm.
I have him a little bit lower than this right now on my board, but all cycle, I have thought that Portland is probably a pretty good spot for Cody Williams. So I'm gonna roll with Cody Williams here. They have him listed as a shooting guard here. I think that he's definitely more of a small forward. He's a legit 6'8". He's got some passing flashes that are nice. Obviously, only averaged about 1.5 assists a game though. Um, he gets to the rim and finishes very well. I know that he shot over 70% at the rim. He looked bad after the injury, after he came back from the injury, but he looked good at the beginning of the season. There are players that I like more here at number 7, but if I'm the Portland Trailblazers, I think that Cody probably fits better than the guards that are still on the board. So number 8 here, the San Antonio Spurs. They already selected Matas.
Yeah, so I think I'm going to go with my best player available. He's in my top top 4 to 5 prospects right now. I took Matas for the Spurs last, but the guy I'm about to take, as dumb as this sounds, I like more than Matas, but he's still there, so I have to take him. I'm going to take Stephon Castle.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of people probably would have gone Nikola Topic there, but I like Stephon Castle's game a lot as well. One of the best perimeter defenders in this draft, in my opinion, has some positional size. I know that the report came out today that he's only 6'2.5", but there's just no way that's true. As someone that stood next to him, it's been all over Twitter that it is a mistake. So I stood right next to him, so I can tell you firsthand he is not 6'2". He's definitely 6'5" at least, and I'm a big fan of Stephon Castle as well. So number 9 here, the Memphis Grizzlies. I think that it gets interesting here because Nikola Topic, Reed Shepard, it's still just a bunch of really good guards here. And
Dalton Connect.
um, Yeah. Let me look at my board really quickly. Because someone like Nikola Topic, it's like you could just have him be backup, learn from Ja. Not similar play styles, but you get what I mean. Um, Reed Shepard, I don't love the fit there. Dalton Connect is a cool pick there, but something that you did in the community mock selecting for the Grizzlies that I liked was this might seem a little bit rich for some people. The way this draft unfolded, some of these guards might end up slipping more than you'd think, but I think that Tyler Smith here is interesting, so I think that's probably where I'm going to go.
I like it.
But I do have Isaiah Collier and Topic the highest on my board out of the people that are here. I'm just not too sure how great of a situation this is for them. Actually, you know what? I'm going to go Isaiah Collier. I think that Ja could be someone that he could really help. That could really help him. Obviously, guards that like to get downhill. I'm a big fan of Isaiah Collier. I think people are overthinking him. Um, if they think that he's the best player available, which I do, just go with him. That's what I think. Tyler Smith, like I was thinking about, is a good fit though. But if you think that he's the best player available, you don't pass up on that. So number 10 here, the Utah Jazz.
Yeah, with the Jazz, I mean, they kind of have a weird roster right now. Still kind of
Definitely.
stuck in. I feel like they've been somewhat wanting to tank, but they aren't. They haven't been bad enough.
Mm-hmm.
So, but they also aren't anywhere close to competing. Um, I mean, they're you could look at pretty much anywhere on their roster, and it's like they need something at the guard spot, but they still have like okay enough players there.
Uh huh.
Um, they have a lot of young players. Um, they're just, I don't know. I feel like they're one of the weirder teams in the NBA right now. Not
Definitely.
really sure like what their direction is because it seemed like a couple of years ago they wanted to blow stuff up, but that just hasn't really happened.
Uh huh.
Um, so I think like Topic would be a solid fit for them. Um, honestly, that's probably what I would do. I'd probably take Topic.
Definitely, yeah, that's what I was thinking. I even thought about him with the last pick for the Grizzlies. Some people might be surprised that he fell this much. I know that you and I are not as big of fans as of Topic as some of the other people are. I have
Yeah.
serious concerns of the defense and the shot and just how the finishing translates against NBA athletes. Isaiah Collier is much more physical finisher at the rim, and that's why I went with Collier for Memphis because I think that he just kind of fits Memphis's identity more than someone like Nikola Topic does. But Nikola Topic there to Utah definitely fits their identity. I like that pick a lot. Could be their lead guard of the future, and it could. I don't know. I'm not as high on Topic, but at number 10, he could end up being a steal if he hits his highest potential. And having someone like Larry Markin in there, who's an amazing play finisher, that would be good for him. Number 11 here, the Chicago Bulls. So this is where it gets a little bit interesting because I would have liked one of the lead guards here for them because I think that Topic or Collier can coexist with Kobe White. Um, Looking at my board, Reed Shepard is the best player available for me. Um, but I'm not too sure how much I love the fit in Chicago.
Yeah, Reed is also my best player available.
Yeah. Yeah, best player available. I'm just going to go with Reed Shepard. I don't know exactly how much I love the fit in Chicago. I think that he is a shooting guard, definitely more of an off guard. I think that the Bulls would love a point guard. Lonzo is coming back. I don't know what you can expect from him. Um, I think that Kobe White is a combo guard, so I think that Topic or Collier would be awesome here. And I think that they could coexist with Kobe, where Reed and Kobe, there's probably still a little bit of like primary playmaking to be desired for a team like that, and the defense is probably going to be pretty rough at the point of attack. Not that that'd be much better with Topic or Collier, really. Obviously, Reed has great defensive instincts, but physical limitations. So number 11 there. So number 12, the Oklahoma City Thunder, my favorite team. You're going to be drafting for them here. Obviously, we're in the playoffs right now, down 2-1 to Dallas. We play them tonight. We'll see how that goes. Where do you think you're going with the Thunder here?
For me, I'm gonna go with my best player available. There's a few guys I was looking at, and you're also thinking fit wise a little bit, but for me, I think it's still a solid fit. I'm gonna take Tyler Smith.
I
I
like
think
it.
He's a good shooter. He's got size, and I
Yeah,
think he could be a good off-ball help side defender, secondary rim protector. And I think
definitely.
OKC already has a lot of help, but I think if you put him in that Jalen Williams role, the Jalen with an eye, I think really dangerous.
Yeah, definitely. The positional size, the perimeter shooting, the help side shot blocking, all things that you mentioned. He's a play finisher. We don't really need too many more people to be able to create their own shot. Maybe one more, depending on what happens with Josh Giddey. Maybe one more guy that can create his own shot off the bench. But already having Shea, currently having Josh Giddey, not that he's a scorer, but obviously a solid passer. Um, I hope that he doesn't start tonight, but Jalen Williams can obviously score. Tyler Smith there to OKC. I like that pick a lot as a Thunder fan. The Sacramento Kings here at number 13, the first name that really popped off the page to me, maybe just because he's right here at the top, but that's Dalton Connect. He is the highest rated player on my board that's left. Obviously, they've got Kevin Herter. Malik Monk might be gone this offseason, so that guard wing backup, I think that Dalton Connect is probably someone that can step in and play right away. Sabonis is a great passing big man. De'Aaron Fox can obviously make plays when getting downhill. I think that Dalton Connect is a pretty solid pick there, and I'd be pretty happy with that if I was Sacramento at 13. So number 14 here, the Portland Trailblazers. Where do you think you're going to head? Cody Williams, I had taken for them at 7.
Yeah. Yeah, Portland's another one. They have a lot of young talent, a lot of guards, guard heavy already. And a lot of the better players on my board are guards.
Definitely.
Um, they still need a lot of help, obviously. Um, Honestly, though, if I'm Portland, I'm stuck on two guys here, but I'm probably going to end up taking Deron Holmes.
Okay, I like that. I think I got to scroll down a little bit for him here. I have him number 15 on my board right now. We're big Deron Holmes fans. Did I scroll past him, or is he just way down here?
I don't
There he
know.
is, number
I think he's
50.
definitely way better than
That,
that.
that's a brutal ranking. Deron Holmes, one of the most switchable big men in this draft. I just put a scouting report on him on Twitter, if you guys want to check that out. The improvements as an outside shooter and the improvements as a passer this year did wonders for his stock. Returning to Dayton was one of the best things that he could have done. I like that pick a lot for Portland. Some people might think it's a little rich over some of these younger guys, some of these bigger names, but I like Deron Holmes there a lot. Number 15, the Miami Heat. So we're out of the lottery now. This is not my best player available, but I would be pretty surprised if Devin Carter is on the board and they don't take him. So I'm going to go with Devin Carter. I think he fits the Miami identity to a T. Phenomenal defender, phenomenal point of attack defender. He is not 16'8" as this claims. Um, Amazing rebounder for about 6'2", which is what he really is. If at 8.7 rebounds a game, that's great. He made real strides as a shooter this year. The free throw percentage was still down, so it is still kind of up in the air on what level of a 3-point shooter he's going to be in the league. But I think he fits Miami's identity to a T, and I think they would love him there. So number 16, the Philadelphia 76ers. Obviously dealt with some Embiid injuries down the stretch of the season and out of the playoffs in the first round. Where do you think they should head with this pick if they were to keep it?
If it's me, I'm going to take my best player available, and that's going to be Jared McCain.
I
And
like
I
that.
think that you could always use shooting. And I think he's definitely got room to grow. He's only 19 years old. I like the way that he plays the game. I think he'll come along as a defender. Not saying he'll be like an all NBA level defender, but I think he'll be solid. He
Serviceable for sure.
competes.
Yeah,
I think
he's
he'll
strong.
have a solid NBA career.
Yeah, he is someone that I'm going to be putting a shooting breakdown on Twitter for sometime soon. I'm sure the numbers there are crazy. I'm not saying that Jared McCain is the same level of shooter as JJ Redick, but obviously we saw what JJ Redick looked like playing alongside Joel Embiid. And Joel Embiid is even better now, and the gravity that he has, shooters will thrive in a situation alongside Joel Embiid. Although Buddy Hield didn't really prove that after getting shaded there, but JJ Redick, he did. 17, I am here. It says the New Orleans Pelicans, but everyone that I see is saying that they can defer the pick to the Lakers, which I know that part is true. but everyone is saying that they're going to do that since it's a weaker draft class and take their pick next year. So where are the Lakers here? I'm gonna send this
They were
kid
saying
over
that
to the
pretty early
Lakers.
on, I think, like
Yeah,
that going back a couple months.
yeah. So number 17 here, the Los Angeles Lakers. Some of the best players left on my board are Ves Misi out of Baylor, Bub Carrington, Jacoby Walter. Not really sure that any of those guys fit what LA is looking for if they were to keep the pick. Um, Shout out to Mike Garcia on Twitter. He is a big Jalen Tyson fan. I'm a big fan of Jalen Tyson as well, but Mike Garcia, I shouted him out because he is a Lakers fan. And Kalel Ware, I still have really high on my board. And I'm just not sure if he's what LA would be looking for. I like Jalen Tyson here to the Lakers. Dribble, pass, shoot, wing. Um, doesn't even have a picture here, so maybe it's not the most popular pick, but dribble, pass, shoot, wing. He's got some solid positional size at about 6'6". I know this says 6'7". Plays with great pace. Can create his own shot from all three levels. Has shown that he can play in an off-ball role as well at Texas Tech the year before. California was horrible this year, so there was a lot of defensive pressure on Jalen Tyson. But I got him staying in the area here, going to the Los Angeles Lakers. So number 18, the Orlando Magic. I know a popular pick here is Jared McCain, but he's off the board. So where are you rolling with the Magic at 18?
For Orlando, it's between two guys for me, and I think they fit their style. But one I think is a better shooter, so I'm going to roll with him. I'm going to take Terrence Shannon Jr. I think
Okay.
he'll come in and help. He could shoot, he could slash, and I think he's a really good on-ball defender, so I think he'll help them pretty early on.
Yeah, obviously this is all dependent on what comes out with his case. But I thought when you said the shooting, I thought that you were going to roll with Jacoby Walter. But let's see. So number 19 here, the Toronto Raptors. I think that he's the best player available on my board. They like length. They like tools. I'm gonna go with Kalel Ware here. When I went back and watched some of the Indiana film from this year, some of it was like really really crazy. Not an amazing defender, but a solid shot blocker. The defense, people are indifferent on it. Some people like it, some people don't. I think that in Toronto's system with so much length and so many good defenders, he'd be fine there. Um, Potential as a face-up scorer, as he has stretch potential, a phenomenal lob threat. The wingspan probably came out today, but I don't know what it said. I know that he's previously been reported at a 7'7" wingspan, probably somewhere around there. I think that if you can get Kalel Ware to lock in, there are questions with the motor. I don't know how overblown those are or not. I don't have too many sources, so I'm not going to overthink it. Kalel Ware is the best player on my board. I'm going to go with Kalel Ware here to the Toronto Raptors at 19. So number 20 here, the Cleveland Cavaliers. You got any
I'm gonna
ideas?
I'm gonna take Jacoby Walter to Cleveland.
For sure, I like that.
Yeah.
Number
He's
20,
higher on my board, but just
yeah,
kind of the way that things shook out, um,
yeah.
I I think this would be a good spot for
Yeah,
him.
he'll bring shooting. He has some defensive upside at about a 6'9", 6'10", 6'11", somewhere in that range. I know it's +6 wingspan. Um, Definitely needs to put on some strength. Can get bumped off his spots pretty easily, but he has potential. He's a good score. He's a good shooter. The percentages might not reflect that perfectly, but I think he's definitely a good shooter. Cleveland would like that. Number 21 here, the New Orleans Pelicans. Um, so they obviously did not get that pick from the Lakers. They deferred that pick back. Looking at my board, some people might be surprised that Kyle Filipowski is still on the board. I know neither of us are the biggest fans of his. I think that I am going to go with, what was the last? You went Cleveland, and then who did I pick for? Toronto. Someone that actually would be okay in Toronto as well that I didn't even think of, but I'd still roll with Kalel. Someone that I'm going to go with here is actually Bub Carrington. If he could end up being a true point guard for them down the line, I don't know how ready he'll be right off rip. Very, very thin. Doesn't put too much pressure on the rim. The defense got better as the year went. Obviously, put the whole world on notice with the triple double, and I believe what was his first game might have been his second. Better shooter than the numbers indicate. One of the best, or one of the youngest players in this class. One of the best shot creators in this draft. When we played them in the first round, they clearly were just lacking a true point guard. And Bub Carrington won't step in and be that day one, but down the line, I think that he's a dynamic scorer, solid passer, good positional height. I think that if they're willing to be patient with him, that could be a great pick for them.
Yeah, with that Toronto pick, I probably would have taken Bub there, so I really like that
Definitely,
pick
yeah,
for
could go either
New
way.
Orleans. Yeah.
So, number 22 here, the Phoenix Suns. Who are you thinking?
Phoenix Suns, I'm going to take Tyler Collier.
I like that. I think he's been mocked there a lot recently, for good reason. A great playmaker, really good on the pick and roll. The 3-point percentage was really good this year. Game manager, and the Phoenix Suns very, very clearly needed that in the playoffs. But what's your reasoning? Same thing I said. didn't mean to
Yeah,
didn't
I
mean to
mean
steal that from you.
they need players, and I think he'll come in, he'll be ready to play. He's a little bit older, but yeah, good shooter, good in the pick and roll, good passer. I think he could play minutes at the point early on, and like we said, like they need a true point guard on that team.
Definitely, yeah, I like that. 23, the Milwaukee Bucks. So let me see, who's the best player left on my board? Okay. Um, hmm. I think this might be a fine time to. Ooh, there's someone else actually. The best player on my board is Vesmisi. Hmm. I think right now might be a fine time to take Kyle Filipowski. If the floor spacing is real, then he can play alongside Giannis. Brooke Lopez is only getting older. Not a huge fan of Kyle Filipowski. I know you aren't as well. Not too sure what to think about him, but if he can be what you want him to be, I think he's a pretty good fit with this team. I like Vesmisi more, but Kyle Filipowski might fit better if he is what you want him to be. So number 24 here, we're going to have back-to-back picks. It's New York with both of them, so you're going to take one and I'm going to take one. So let's see where we roll with this.
Yeah, I'm going to take Kevin McCullough.
Definitely
I
like
have him
that.
higher, pretty significantly higher on my board than that, but I think I've been saying it for the last 2 years. I think he's a New York Knick kind of player.
Yeah, I have him right about 22, 23 on my board, so not too much higher, but I'm a big fan of his game as well. Yeah, definitely screams New York New York Knicks. Great defender, physical, strong, solid, connective playmaker. I like that a lot. I think with who, because with Zach Edey, I know some people have him higher. You and I both have him late first, I believe. Um, Obviously here at 25, that is late first, but I like Vesmisi more. So I'm going to go with Vesmisi. There's obviously questions about Mitchell Robinson, Isaiah Hartenstein, as their contracts are going to be running out, and Vesmisi is a lob threat. He can block shots. He's pretty new to basketball, and I think that he could kind of fill Mitchell Robinson's shoes in a few years. So I'm going to, if Mitchell Robinson is out the door. So I'm going to roll with Vesmisi there. Number 26 here, the Washington Wizards. So you had taken Rob Dillingham for them with the second overall pick. So who are you going to pair him up with right now?
Yeah, with Washington, it's tough. I probably would have taken Misi for them as well.
Definitely.
Uh, you know, I'm not really sure, honestly. There's
I can
a
scroll down a little bit for you.
few different ways you can go.
This
Um,
order is pretty crazy, though.
I think if you're Washington at this point, you probably just go for upside, I think, in this position.
Okay,
Um, but I mean, at this point in the draft, how much true upside is there?
definitely.
Um, but I think this guy is still solid, and I think he can contribute. I'm gonna go with De Silva.
Okay.
Um, yeah, I could see him going top 20, so I'll take him
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, he's probably best suited to be on a contender. But if they think that he's the best player available and he's there at 26, I like that. Definitely can step in and play right away, and they need some guys like that. Number 27 here, the Minnesota Timberwolves. Zach Edey to Jane Salone still on the board. Neither guys that I would go with here for Minnesota. Let me take a look at my board really quickly. Um, Huh. I would like to target a point guard here, but they may just try to get one in free agency or in the offseason with a trade. Um, I'm going to go with Jameer Watkins. I'm not sure if he's on here. There he is, all the way down here. He ran a lot of pick and roll for Florida State, so he could do a little bit of initiating off the bench, a little bit of playmaking, not as a primary guy, but he fits their culture. Great defensive player, super physical, will get to the rim, good passer. Like I said, not a primary playmaker, but I like Jameer Watkins there for the Minnesota Timberwolves. Hopefully you hope the outside shot is falling, which it was at a pretty solid rate this year. So, number 28, the Denver Nuggets.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Ryan Dunn.
I like that.
Yeah, I think he's a good fit with Denver. I think Jokic could get him some easy shots in the dunker.
Yeah, this is probably one of the
More of a
spots where he
unique
gets
situation.
maximized.
Yeah, I think that like definitely fit matters with Ryan Dunn, and I think
For sure.
he can somewhat play the five for Denver in the offense. If Jokic is out on the perimeter, you could put him in the dunker, use him as a roller. But I just think defensively he can give you a lot. He can give you some solid minutes early just on the defensive side of the ball in Denver. I can't really say that in a lot of other places just because the shooting is just really questionable at best.
Definitely, I like that. All right, so number 29 here, the Utah Jazz. There's two ways I could go here. Zach Edey or Tidjane Saloon. I'm gonna go with Tidjane. I think that the Jazz should kind of focus on development. I can dig Saloon there. Obviously, there's big bust potential there, but there's some upside as well. And Utah is a team that could be patient.
Definitely. Number 30, I'll take Zach Edey for Boston.
Definitely, that works out. So this is the draft here. Check it out real quick, everybody. We'd like to thank you all for watching. Our Twitter and all of that is going to be in the bio. Please go give us a follow. Been putting out a lot of draft content. Would love to see if you guys could get me to 500 followers soon and get Christian up there. Try to get him up to 300. That'd be awesome. And thank you guys all for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the mock. Tell us what you guys would do, and everybody have a good rest of your day. Peace out.